What's going on, guys? So Todd Hutchings has released a very fascinating video where he sits down with Brian Shaw in Brian Shaw's podcast and asks some really crucial questions about Brian's intent within the sport of arm wrestling, why he quit strongman, what he is planning on doing moving forward, how he's going to get there, and we also see some really fascinating things regarding Todd Hutchings as well. So firstly, Brian really made the point that he felt like he retired from strongman at a very, very good time in his life. He wanted to be at a point where he was still not just a competitor, but he was winning against the best strongman competitors there were in the world. And he did that by winning his last strongman competition in 2023 when he retired from that. Now, the crucial thing that us as arm wrestlers really are fascinated with is what Todd Hutchings asks towards the end of the video. And I do suggest that you go and see this whole video because it is a fantastic little chat that these guys have. But the most fascinating thing was Todd asked Brian towards the end of the video, what is your plan? Are you the kind of guy who's going to sit back and soak up the sport, grow a big gray beard and become a bit of a master and slowly become somewhat of a talented entity within the sport? Or are you going to just develop one or two moves, make them crazy strong and get within the top 10, top 5, take on Levan sort of approach? And Brian was very much for make a couple of moves, super strong, get to the top as fast as he possibly can within. And Brian didn't say it, but Todd said 5 years, and Brian was very much like, yes, that is what I want to do. So a very fascinating declaration there from Brian Shaw that he is planning on developing one or two moves. He's not going to try to get fancy. He's just going to try and get too strong on those one or two moves. Now, will that be the right play? I think it is the right play for someone like Brian. We know that it's difficult to learn the finer arts of the sport when you are already so strong. You're not going to become a detailed technician, and it's going to take a long time. The strength curse, as I call it, can get in the way. So he's taking the right approach, which is to just develop that one major weapon. So he's going to be a bit of a glass cannon. He'll either win or he'll lose really bad. He'll develop one move. It's going to be the top roll from what we've seen with Neil Pickup's training. He is working on that big back pressure pronation, explosive top roll, which makes sense for somebody in his position with the long leverage and the big hand and the good grip strength. He's going to be able to try to beat people outside of the straps before they get anywhere. Almost like a Travis Bagent style arm wrestler, I can imagine, is what Brian Shaw is aiming for in his head. Now, the other fascinating thing that was talked about on this podcast, behind the scenes, that was released on Todd Hutchings' channel, was Todd's intent. Todd made a really cool declaration that he is for at least another 10 years, and he knows for a fact that he is still getting stronger. He says he measures it, so he knows, there's no questioning it. He still gets stronger, and he thinks that he will be around competitive for another 10 years at least, and he wants to make the 95 kilo division his legacy division. He wants to dominate the 95 kilo division in such a manner that Engen retires the 95 kilo division the day that Todd does as well. He wants him to be so dominant that they say we now make it a 93 kilo division rather than 95 kilo division because Todd Hutchings has dominated it for so long, and we're going to leave that legacy for him, which is a pretty cool thing to aim for Todd. We did hear a little bit about when Todd's next match was. We can expect him in May, June. He thinks he's going to take on all sorts of people, Rustam Babayev, Oleg Petrenko. There's a whole list of names in that class. He essentially wants to take on everybody in that 95 kilo class, and Todd now being the official world #1 for 95 kilos. They're all coming for him, and we'll no doubt get confirmations of all of that stuff very soon. But anyway, Brian Shaw making the declaration he wants to be in the top 10, top 5, and even hunting Levan within 5 years with a big top roll and nothing else. Let me know your thoughts.